You woke up this morning and immediately reached for your phone. You didn't even think about it. Your hand just moved, like it always does. But here's a question nobody ever asks. What did humans reach for when they woke up every morning for the 200,000 years before any of this existed? Before phones, before cities, before jobs or schedules or any of the things that fill your day right now? What were they actually doing? Because civilization, everything you know as normal life, is only about 12,000 years old. That sounds ancient. It isn't. Your species has been around for 200,000 years, which means for the vast majority of human existence, there were no cities, no laws, no money, no calendars, no alarm clocks, just people and time, and a world that had no rules yet. So what did they do with all of it? The first answer is simple. They walked every single day, not for exercise, not to hit a step count, just because walking was life. Early human groups moved through landscape constantly, following food, following water, following seasons. Your body was built for this. The shape of your foot, the swing of your arms, the way your hips roll when you walk. All of that is engineering. Your body is a long-distance walking machine, and it hasn't changed. You are still carrying that body into a world that mostly asks you to sit still. And somewhere deep down, part of you knows something is wrong about that. But they didn't just walk alone, they walked together. And this is where it gets interesting. Humans have always lived in small groups, 15 to 50 people at most. And inside those groups, they did something that researchers now recognize as one of the most important human behaviors that has ever existed. They talked about each other. They gossiped constantly. Who said what? Who did what? Who can be trusted and who can't? What happened between those two people last night? You might think this is a modern problem. It isn't. It is older than language itself. Anthropologists believe that social gossip, talking about other people, is actually what language evolved for in the first place. Not to describe the world, not to plan hunts, but to track relationships, to know who is loyal, to understand who belongs. Because in a small group with no laws and no police and no courts, the only thing keeping everyone alive and safe was trust, and trust had to be built and maintained through conversation every single day. So your ancestors walked, and they talked, and they kept each other close. And when the sun went down, something beautiful happened. They gathered around fire. This is one of the oldest human rituals in existence, and researchers who have studied ancient cultures that still live close to this way of life found something remarkable. During the day, people talked about practical things, food, tasks, problems to solve. But at night, around the fire, something shifted. The conversation changed. People told stories. They described places far away. They imagined things that didn't exist yet. They laughed. They performed. They kept each other entertained in the dark. The campfire was the first television, the first internet, the first everything. And for 200,000 years, that was the highlight of the day. Not scrolling, not streaming, just people, firelight, and stories that traveled from mouth to ear across hundreds of thousands of years. They also played. Adults, not just children. Early humans played constantly. Games, contests, humor, imitation, mock fights that weren't really fights. Play wasn't a waste of time. It was how relationships were tested and strengthened. It was how trust was built without words. When you laugh uncontrollably with someone, something shifts between you. That shift is ancient. Your body still knows how to do it. It's been doing it for longer than you can imagine. Now here's the part that might surprise you the most. Life before civilization was genuinely hard. There was real danger, real hunger, real loss. Nobody is pretending otherwise. But researchers who have spent time studying cultures that still live close to this older way of life consistently notice one unexpected thing. These people are not miserable. They are not running from task to task with their heads down. They rest a lot. They have long, slow conversations. They sit together doing nothing in particular. They sleep when it gets dark. They wake when it gets light. The gap between what they have and what they feel they need is small, narrow enough that they can actually reach across it. And in that space, the space modern life fills with anxiety and noise and the feeling that you are always behind, they simply exist, together, without urgency. You know that feeling on a rare afternoon when nothing is scheduled and time opens up and you don't quite know what to do with yourself? That is not boredom. That is your ancient self recognizing a kind of freedom it was built for and almost never gets anymore. 200,000 years. Walking, talking, telling stories in the dark, playing, resting, being with people who knew them completely. That was the full human experience for almost all of human history. And then, 12,000 years ago, everything changed. Faster and faster and faster. Cities, writing, money, industry, screens, and your brain, the same brain your ancestors had, unchanged, sitting inside your skull right now, never got the update. It is still running the old software, still looking for the small group, still craving the fire, still waiting for the slow evening conversation that never comes, because there is always something else to do. This morning you woke up and reached for your phone, just like you always do, but now you know what your hand was really looking for.